Hello everyone. Welcome to Gotham Digital Learning. I hope you are doing fine, and this is your trainer Musab welcoming you to another video for a very informative topic today. Now guys, most of the time to connect to any Linux machine, we are using some external software. We are installing some software like PuTTY or OpenSSH, MobiXterm. So many softwares are there what you use for connecting to a Linux machine. Don't you think it would be a great idea that you can connect to a Linux machine just by simple a web browser? And that's it. You don't need any extra stuff. Same way how we manage the cloud environment. If you have seen the AWS cloud or maybe the Google cloud or Azure cloud, they give us a wonderful web-based portal through which you can manage everything. In Linux also, there is one tool by installing which you can manage the whole environment through a web browser. Previously, we used to use a software called Webmin, but now we are having a wonderful tool called Cockpit. See, as soon as I say Cockpit, it excites us. Cockpit is actually the control station in an airplane where pilots sit and control the whole aircraft. Something like that we have Cockpit in Linux. Since Red Hat 7 CentOS 7, you can see that this concept was introduced. You can simply enable this service and there you go. You can connect with a web browser and manage your environment. So in order to use Cockpit, there are two requirements what you have to do. First, you have to start the service of Cockpit and you must have a user with admin privilege because the root access is by default disabled in Cockpit for security reasons. You are not allowed to log in Cockpit using root user. So you have to use an admin user. What we can do here? The most simple thing to make any user admin is add the user into wheel group and automatically that group will get admin right as wheel name is already available in etc sudo. I have a user called Musab and I'm going to add this user into wheel group. How to add a user in a group? G password -a, add the user Musab in wheel group. Now let me test it out whether this user is getting sudo access or not. Let's log in as Musab user, or in fact you can do su also. So let me log in as Musab user. As I know the password, I can log in with this user. Now if I say sudo and any command fdisk-l, now you run the command and give your password. In fact, you can say sudo-l. This will tell you that you have all the rights. Fantastic. Now it's time to activate your web console. Guys, whenever you are logging as any user, doesn't matter that you have to be root, you can log in as any user. The moment you are logging, it is telling you at the top, activate the web console with system enable now cockpit.socket. So what I can do is I can just use this command to enable Cockpit. I'll say systemctl status and cockpit.socket. So as you see, this port or this service is inactive and disabled. Let us activate it and enable it. So I'll say systemctl enable now cockpit.socket. That's it. Now you check the status and you'll find that the service is active, running, and it is enabled. Let us say that I want to connect. How can I connect it? See, again, if you try to log in, maybe I'll logging again as root or any other user, you see at the top it is explaining you that you have to use HTTPS, either the host name if you have DNS to resolve it, or you can use IP address. Followed by what? Followed by the port number 9090. So you have to use that IP address and the port number and you can connect. In fact, my machine IP over here, as I'm getting multiple IPs, that's the reason it is showing you I can use this internal IP 10.20 or I can use the IP 2950. Any IP you like. As my machine have multiple Ethernet adapters, you are free to connect with anyone. I'll use one of the IP. Let me take a browser. It can be any browser of your choice. You can say https:// and the IP address 192.168.10.20 and the port number should be 9090. Now you see, the moment I try to connect, it is going to give me one warning. Now this warning can also be ignored or it can be taken as a false positive warning. Go to advanced. Over here you have continue. Now once you continue, you see it is asking you to provide the username and password. Let's try using root user and see what will happen. I'll try the root password. Even though you know the root user and password, you see it may not allow us to log in. It says wrong username or password. As I told you, root user is restricted. You're not allowed to make any changes inside it. So next thing, what I'll do here is I'll just go up and type the user which we have used as an Ansible or the sudo user, my mistake. So let me give the password for this user and you see I'm into that. Now it will allow me to access the portal and here I'm getting limited access. Now suppose you wanted to take the administrative right. Maybe you wanted to do some admin tasks, so you can change it to administrative access. The moment I click on turn on administrative access, it is going to ask you to type my user password and my user is Musab. I'm going to give the password whatever I have kept it for. The moment I say authenticate, here you go. You're now having the administrative right. Now in Cockpit, you can view the usage, how the system, CPU, memory, others, everything is going on. Then you can also read some log files. You can see how many partitions are mounted. You can unmount the partitions from here. You can also deal with networking over here. If you click on networking, it shows you networking also. Maybe you can enable, disable firewall. You can add bonding. So many things you can do. In fact, if you have installed containers, you can manage the containers from here. Isn't it beautiful? You can add more user accounts over here. If you want, you can add number of users into it. Same way, you can go to diagnostic reports, kernel dumping, SE Linux enable or disabling, software update, and finally subscription and terminal. Now when you go for terminal, guys, here it is going to give you a terminal where you can actually run some command and you can view it. In fact, you can change the colors of the terminal to dark, to light, to white as per your requirement. So isn't it beautiful that now I don't have to install any extra software. Just use any browser of your choice, log in and manage your Linux. You want to work with command line, work with that. You want to manage it through the graphics, manage it. So I hope today you have learned another important concept and this made your life easier to work with Linux. Thank you so very much for visiting us. Do come back for more such videos. Have a nice day.